Viewers, this day will go down in history as less than 2 hours before the deadline expired, US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire. Remember, before that, he had warned that he's going to wipe out entire civilization of Iran. And before the deadline could come to an end, he announced a 2-week conditional ceasefire with Iran. It is day 40 of the war. In fact, he has said that major objectives have already been met and a broader peace agreement could be finalized within the next 2 weeks. Now, Trump also confirmed that Iran had submitted a 10-point proposal, calling it a workable basis for some kind of negotiations, while both sides pause attacks to push for a final deal. The ceasefire remains conditional and fragile, with diplomacy now racing against time. Iran has also confirmed a 2-week de-escalation after Donald Trump's ceasefire announcement, with the foreign minister of Iran saying that Tehran indeed is going to halt operations if attacks on Iran stop. So if there is going to be no provocation, Iran has said there will be no retaliation as well. He also added that safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz is going to be allowed during this period under coordination with Iran's armed forces. Remember, the most important demand of Donald Trump for a ceasefire arrangement was that Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz. So that also is going to happen, but of course that is going to happen with some conditions. Before we get you more on that, let's tell you a little bit more about what the leaders from both countries really said. So Donald Trump has declared that bombing of Iran has been suspended for 2 weeks. Iranian foreign minister says no attack, no retaliation. If you don't provoke us, we won't really retaliate. Trump said this is going to be a double-sided ceasefire. The Iranian foreign minister acknowledged that it's a 2-week ceasefire window that we are looking at right now. Then Trump also mentioned that ceasefire is going to, stay if Hormuz is reopened. Hormuz passage for 2 weeks is going to be reportedly, allowed, but there are some conditions that Iran has put in as per reports. And Donald Trump has also acknowledged that America has received a 10-point proposal plan from Iran, something that we told you about yesterday also. And now we'll have to see what happens really to this 10-point proposal that America has got from Iran. Will America accept everything that Iran really wants right now? Now, what does this temporary truce, this temporary ceasefire really mean for Iran? Now, this, viewers, provides immediate respite from American strikes, because now the update was that the target was civilian infrastructure. And yesterday evening, we saw civilian infrastructure getting targeted. So there is some respite that has now come in. Now, it really opens the doors for negotiations on its 10-point plan. It prevents further civilian infra damage. It also buys time to regroup the military amid the conflict. And Iran is now claiming victory. It boosts regime's narrative, and it also, in fact, reduces losses from Hormuz closure. And it also sets stage for long-term talks as far as the nuclear issue is concerned. So a lot has happened over the last few hours. There's a lot for Iran in this, and there's a lot for United States of America as well. Now, why we are saying that? Because it averts risky escalation of war. There were some reports suggesting that Iran was also going to start attacking American assets on American soil. These are unconfirmed reports, but that was something that was also brought to Trump's attention. So clearly some respite on that front. Trump gets to position himself as a decisive deal maker. It also eases domestic pressure on Trump, because not many clearly were very happy with this particular war that US got into with Israel against Iran. Then it also strengthens the narrative of victory without full invasion, without really getting boots on the ground. And it also reduces economic pain from soaring oil and gas prices, because what this war essentially did, viewers, was it led to an increase in the energy prices that is having an impact on the entire world, and US cannot remain isolated. Now, it also reduces military spending pressures on the United States of America. So this is a sense of what Iran gets from this particular ceasefire and what America gets from this ceasefire. Let me go across to my colleague Rishabh, who is joining us live at this point in time. Rishabh, can you tell us a little bit more about the conditions that are, in place, that have been agreed when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz? Because Trump wanted Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Iran was, absolutely clear that it will levy some kind of a transit fee. So what is the arrangement in this regard in this 2-week period?
Well, one thing is very clear, Hina. After the announcement of this pause, a temporary 2-week ceasefire that we are looking at, we now know where these actors now stand. The United States has stepped back from the brink. It created a deadline backed by threats of overwhelming forces, have given way to a conditional pause that has been built around negotiations. And that signals not strength alone, but recognition of limits as well for U.S. Military objectives may have been met, but political end states remains elusive.
Rishabh, I'm just interrupting you there. Stay on with us. More breaking inputs coming in at this point in time. We've been saying, viewers, that it is a temporary truce. It's a fragile ceasefire, and it seems cracks have started appearing. Already, as Trump hails massive victory, Iran has issued a fresh warning. In fact, Iran has claimed, and I'm quoting what Iranian officials in fact have said, our fingers are on trigger. Iran has said ceasefire does not mean a complete end of war. Iran's any mistake by enemy warning has now come. This is an important update that we are getting for you. Iran again has said that any mistake is going to see full response. Let's go back to Rishabh, who continues to be with us at this point in time. Rishabh, give us more details as far as this fresh response from Iran is concerned that we've got.
This is what we were talking about, that there is a pause, there is a temporary ceasefire for 14 days. This is a very fragile and volatile situation that we are talking in. And a very thin ice that all the actors in this conflict are walking. We know what U.S. now stands at. They have known their limits and what they can do and achieve in Iran. Israel's stand is a bit more ambiguous. And, if we see, they have driven the escalation, and it is now to the process it does not fully control. Israel might have started this whole conflict, but Israel does not control the conflict. We know it is being controlled by Donald Trump.
Right. Rishabh,
but when it comes to Iran...
Stay on with us. Shinjoy Chaudhary, my colleague, also joining us on the broadcast this morning. Shinjoy, now this warning in a way has come from Iran's Supreme National Security Council, and the warning in fact says our fingers are on the trigger. How should we interpret it, and what does it really mean?
Well, this could be a warning to Israel, because or even America, because the point is that while there is a truce, while there is a ceasefire for 2 weeks, 14 days is a long time to make peace. But nevertheless, two things. One, that this is a message not just to Iran, not just to Israel and America. It's actually a message. It's a statement for its own people. Sometimes things have to be said for the population of the country, for the people of a country. And this is a way of telling the people of Iran that, look here, we may have made peace, but our fingers are on a trigger, and we can do whatever is necessary. So that point also must be made. There is also a distrust between Israel and Iran. They distrust each other, keeping in mind all the things that have happened in the past, which is why there is a fear, perhaps, or an apprehension that one of the two can break this ceasefire. That could also be a possibility.
Okay. And the question really, Srinjoy, right now is that both sides seem to be claiming victory. And the question that many are asking is, what is it that America has achieved in this war that went on for at least 40 days? Today is day 40. Today we got this big news, big announcement of a temporary ceasefire. But if we talk about, the objectives that have been achieved, that White House has spoken about, that Trump is also, in a way hinting at, what is it that America has really achieved? Because if you see, Iran wanted to levy some kind of a fees on ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz, and it will be able to do it.
Well, first of all, both sides have declared victory. And in a way, it's a good thing. Because if you've declared victory, if you won, then there's no need to fight again. That's the first thing. And this is a message to their own people. The Americans have to be told that, look, we won. That's why we fought for 40 days and we won. The same applies to the Iranians. As far as achievement is concerned, the Americans wanted regime change. Now that hasn't happened. There's been leadership change, most definitely, but not regime change. But the president says he has achieved regime change. If that is so, and he has won, good. Secondly, he says that the nuclear deterrent, that the nuclear weapons that Iran was looking at is not going to happen as a result of this war. We are not so sure, but that's what he's saying. Besides, he said that he's destroyed a substantial portion of Iran's abilities to fire missiles and drones. Now, how much is substantial, we have to see. But he certainly has destroyed the Iranian Navy. He certainly has destroyed, at least for a while, the Iranian air defense system. So after 40 days of fighting, Iran emerges perhaps a little weakened. On the other hand, Iran has discovered a weapon which is a substantial one and cannot be destroyed in some ways. And that is the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it's a serious weapon. Now, it can be used at any time. Tomorrow, Iran can say that, okay, the Strait of Hormuz is open. A week from now, a month from now, a year from now, it can again say the Strait of Hormuz is closed. This is a weapon that can be used at any time. And it has proved to be a fairly serious weapon.
The Strait of Hormuz is not going to be free anymore. That's the bottom line. This is the result of this war that started on 28th of February, even though we have a temporary ceasefire arrangement in place for at least 2 weeks. Srinjoy, stay on with us. And also, viewers, quickly take a look at the visuals that we are showing to you right now. So there have been different kind of reactions, in fact, that we've got of this ceasefire announcement. In Tehran, we saw celebrations. Pro-government demonstrators, in fact, were seen celebrating. In America, in different parts of America, we saw protests against President Donald Trump. So those were the two set of visuals that you were seeing just now. Let's also tell you a little bit about the timeline.